Mindfulness Monday. So today I want to share a little bit of a guided contemplation on my motivation for this week. So it's been a pretty cloudy, gloomy weekend here in Cincinnati. New moon was last night, so a lot of energy percolating and surfacing, and so it's much needed for me to anchor into a motivation for this week. So let's begin by simply tuning back into our breathing. Simply noticing the inhale, the exhale, the gap of space in between each. When an inhale becomes an exhale, that conscious emptiness, that gap of space before the exhale turns into an inhale. Turning our attention anytime we've strayed our focus from the moment. That is the practice, to simply return to the moment as often as we can, gently, without frustration, or even if frustration occurs, not to resist it, to return even from that, just to notice. Cultivating this self-awareness and attention on what we're focusing is helpful, not just during an active practice, but it's helpful in all areas of life, especially in cultivating our own self-discovery, our own self-awareness. Using this practice becomes such a valuable tool in the school of life, if you will. So this week, being the new moon, as I'm not the most knowledgeable on astrology, I don't usually seek it out, but I am open to receiving its wisdom when it finds its way to me. And this week I heard that the new moon, while new moons are usually seen as auspicious times for sowing seeds of intentions that we want to bring into our lives, that this new moon has a particular energy, for whatever reason, of more of a release, which is typically seen as more of a full moon energy. And the way I heard it described really makes a lot of sense to me and really resonates with my personal experience lately, where if we think of a metaphorical garden in our minds and our hearts and our lives, and if we're intending on sowing seeds for new experiences, new energy to come into fruition, well, if we haven't cleared out space in that garden, if the gardens of our minds and our hearts are filled with stagnation, if the soil is cluttered, there's weeding that needs to happen, other thought patterns that we've been watering throughout our life, either consciously or unconsciously, perhaps programs that we no longer really need for our survival and certainly to thrive in our experience, perhaps programming from childhood or situations that have watered seeds of doubt, self-doubt, or otherwise, just general fear and anxieties. Those seeds are watered very often in our mainstream society. So if we don't take time and care to tend to those metaphorical weeds cluttering up our space, our internal space, if we don't take time to do that, we can set all the intentions in the world and have the best intentions for bringing fruitful, loving, blissful experiences into our lives. But if there's no space for those seeds to take root and to be nourished, then clearly they won't. So for me this week, my motivation to focus on is to simply notice first and foremost, because that can be a challenge and a task within itself, to simply notice when things aren't flowing. And to take some stock and reflect into eventually identifying what it is that's obscuring the path, what's impeding the flow. And that may not be easy to identify right in the moment, but if we can at least begin to ask the question, then that energetically opens us to receive the answer whenever it's time for it to come into fruition, whenever it's time for that answer to come into our conscious awareness. If we never ask, we're just waiting for chance. We're just waiting for things to get to the point where they need resolve. We can practice more conscious living, setting ourselves up for success, setting ourselves up for happiness, and living in our truth. So if that resonates with your personal experience right now, I invite you to do the same, and to simply start with just noticing, like I said, asking that question. Maybe there's something more specific if you want to take it further, something in your life that you need to focus on. Maybe you're already aware of some obstacles. Maybe this week and the next week and the next chunk of time will be focused on releasing our attachment, our identification with the things that weigh us down. And if none of that resonates with where you are in your life, I simply invite you to reflect and come into clarity on what it is that you do need to focus your attention into motivating yourself this week. What soul food are you lacking or needing inspiration, or whatever it may be? Just invite you to create clarity around it. thank you again for joining me for this little tune-in. And a quick little logistics heads up. So I decided to switch over from doing Tuesdays as the tongue drum, tune-in Tuesdays, and I'll be doing Motivation Mondays from now on. So this will be the first of many for this iteration of the series, and I decided I would do the mindful music reviews Tuesday for the Tune In Tuesday. So just a quick heads up on that, and I appreciate you spending some energy with me today, and hopefully this was a nice way of tuning in and getting focused and conscious on what you want to bring about in your week and in the future. And yeah, let me know your thoughts, and if you have any specific motivations or anything different than what I mentioned today, I would love to hear about them. Feel free to shoot a comment. And if you enjoyed the video, always appreciate a like. Just shows YouTube that people are interested in this type of content and goes a long way, honestly. So thank you so much, and I'll tune in with you next week.